Hello there. Well, we've got a much colder morning than I anticipated. I should have brought another jacket, but there we go. I think once we start walking we'll warm up a wee bit. This is Glen Croe behind me, and I'm at Rest and Be Thankful. Going to walk around about 7 miles from here to Arrochar through the glen. I just wanted to be in among mountains. I didn't want to be walking up any mountains or anything like that, just kind of in and among them, and you can't get a better place to be in and among mountains than here at Rest and Be Thankful and in Glen Croe. I mean, it's kind of awesome, and every time I'm here, the whole, it just blows me away, you know, the scenery. It's breathtaking stuff, you know. I have made a video in this area previously. I think I was walking from Arrochar to Rest and Be Thankful. I think I ended the video at Rest and Be Thankful, but I was actually walking back to Arrochar. And I think I was using the handheld camera at that stage, so this is a little bit different. You know, we're going the other way around. It's always good to just do a walk the other way around, because you're not always looking behind you to see what views you're missing. And it's just nice to get a different perspective of an area you've perhaps been in before. I got a bus from Glasgow to Rest and Be Thankful. As I say, 7 miles back to Arrochar. It's a nice walk. There have been occasions where the bus doesn't stop at Rest and Be Thankful because there has been issues with landslip in Glen Croe, and sometimes the whole road's closed, in fact. Although occasionally they do use the lower military road. I think the last time I tried to get out this way to get a bus to Rest and Be Thankful, they just weren't, for whatever reason, it wasn't stopping. If the buses are stopping at Rest Be Thankful, you have to book the bus. You have to book the bus, or it just won't stop at Rest and Be Thankful. So you book and say, you know, I've got to Rest and Be Thankful, and you're well right. So without further ado, before I absolutely freeze, usual story, no gloves. Let's just go. Well, I saw a lizard or a newt back there. Not sure which of the two it was. Might just have been a lizard, a tiny wee thing. In my whole life, I've never seen many lizards or newts, you know. Maybe the odd one over the decades. You know, you see frogs and stuff like that, but lizards and newts, you just don't see an awful lot of them. It was right in the middle of this road here, and I nearly stood in it. It could have been the last surviving lizard in Glen Croe, and it almost pegged it at the bottom of my foot. But I saw it at the last moment, thankfully, and avoided standing on it. Standing here, this is the old military road through Glen Croe, and you know, you get a kind of real feel here for how iffy it is as far as landslips are concerned. Some of the landslips that have closed the main road above us through Glen Croe have also landed on this old military road, meaning that this can't be used as an alternative route. You know, there's been talk over the years about trying to do something about this, and clearly something has to be done. I think tunnels have been mentioned, and that sounds like a pretty good idea. It's a major bit of engineering work. Sometimes when you look at the Glen and you look at the lower land down there, you think, well, would it not be better to build a road down there? But then down there you probably get the risk of flooding. You're between a rock and a wet place. May well be the phrase. Anyway, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for more critters. Well, the technical term here is a pile of warm cows, and given how bitterly cold it is, I'm inclined to think I should be in there among them to get a bit of a heat. But they're all enjoying their food, so I'll just leave them to it. I've always loved wandering through Glen Croe. I think, like all glens, it bears traces of the people who were here long ago. You get bits of wall and the remains of buildings where people once lived and survived in this harsh landscape. And these old ruins are mixed with modern structures. You could just get a real feeling of time, how time passes by, and there's no stopping it, unfortunately. Sometimes time has a way of making you forget distances and things. That was a little bit longer than I remembered. And the important thing to remember about this walk is, well, you know, I was saying 7 miles, it's a nice little donder. It's not as straightforward. If you were not familiar with the area, it's not as straightforward as I perhaps made it out to be. You know, you do need to have your map with you. Sometimes I use a land ranger ordnance survey. Sometimes it's just not too clear in certain areas where there's a lot of things happening. You have to, there's a short section of the road, and for goodness sake, whatever you do, don't walk on the road. It's a very fast road. You know, stay on the little narrow grass bit at the edge of the road. And I made the mistake of leaving the road and going into a kind of forest track on the left hand side, which I thought was the way I should be going, and it wasn't. I went for a couple of 100 metres and I thought, wait a minute, instead of heading towards Arrochar, I'm heading in the opposite direction. Something is not right. And I went back onto the road, and thankfully then you can pick up a footpath that's right beside a stone bridge, a modernish stone bridge. It's not a great path, but at least it takes you off the road for a bit. Then you come to a car park, and then this track that leads you up. And even up here, I know from past experience, if you didn't know the area, you might come to forks in this path. I can see right away that this is a new forest track, and there'll be forks in it. You could just very easily go the wrong way. So just take a lot of care. Let's see what we've got for eating. I don't know why I'm speaking so loudly. They must be able to hear me in the whole glen here. Anyway, right. It's something round. I mean, pies are round. But I get the feeling it's not a pie. Let's just have a look here. Don't you dare go down the slope. Stay there. I've got an omelette. Who packed this rucksack? Oh, that's right, it was me, I packed it. I've got Spanish spinach omelette for some utterly bizarre reason. One of these things that you can't open. Oh, actually you can open it, which is slightly disappointing. I was going to show you my new knife. Got a new knife. All adventurers need a knife. And this one's just about as big as my little pinky. But it has a small blade and also a pair of scissors, which is going to be ideal for getting into some of these containers that don't open. This one opened. It's kind of spoiled the scene a little bit, but there we go. I think I actually got this on the off chance that I would... Oh, it's got a nail file as well, see? Isn't that what you need in your outdoor kit? A nail file. But it's got a little pair of scissors. I think I got it in the off chance that I came upon maybe an animal, a deer, trapped in string in the wilds. And I would be able to cut it free and save the day with a scissor. I'd be the hero. I remember seeing the skeleton of a deer trapped in a fence in the Perth area years ago. It's one of these things you never forget. The poor animal must have got stuck and couldn't free itself, and God, you think somebody would have found it before it just perished, you know? Terrible. Get a spoon. My little knife doesn't have a spoon in it. I think cutlery's a difficult subject these days, you know. I was in the university canteen can't remember the name of the university. Is it the Caledonian University, just behind Buchanan Street bus station? And it's wooden cutlery they have. It's an absolute nonsense, you know. What's happened to the world where we're trying to eat our food? I mean, they maybe do it to try and put the students under great duress and give them something to constantly fight at, to constantly try and eat whatever they're going to eat with these wooden implements that are, in effect, utterly useless. The spoon is just barely spoon-shaped. It's just... Obviously the idea is maybe to save a bit of money and wash it up, but you just... wooden stuff, you just chuck it out. I mean, that same canteen, I remember not that long ago going in, because they used to do really good food. I think standards have slipped a wee bit. I don't know whether it's down to money, you know, the cost of the gas and electricity to make all this food, but I suspect I won't go back, you know. But there was one time I got a main meal and I fancied tomatoes with it, so I went over to the kind of veggie salad bit and I started putting tomatoes on my plate, and an old woman came over to me, a member of staff, making it quite clear that, no, you shouldn't be doing that, you shouldn't be putting tomatoes on your plate. I mean, I could kind of see where she was coming from, because the plates are so small that I was struggling to get any tomatoes on my plate at all. They seem to serve your food in what's like a very enlarged saucer. But apparently the tomatoes had to go in a plastic tray thing. That's plastic tray there, that's for the salad. You can't put tomatoes on your plate. We're trying to save the planet here, you know, we're sticking salad in plastic throwaway containers. What is wrong with that canteen? It irritates me every time I go into it. So. I don't know what Spanish omelets are supposed to be like, but it seems to be made of potatoes, with some egg between it. Nothing to write home about. I hope to be back in Arrochar by about 4. I think there's a bus just at the back of 4 going to Helensburgh, a 3:02. Because if I miss that, I think I've got about 4 hours to wait. I don't want to hang about Arrochar for 4 hours. See you shortly. Well, that's me in Arrochar. You know, it's only when the tide is out in the loch behind me that you can see all the plastic crap that we as a society throw out on a regular basis. And I'm reminded perhaps once again about the tomatoes in the university served in a plastic container. It's not supposed to put them on a proper plate. The world's gone flipping mad. I'm Eddie Burns. Bye for now.